author, creator of God and Gigs. Our podcast, the God and Gigs Show, which airs every Thursday, comes out on all podcast networks. And also the this platform right here, the Facebook page. We have several different things that are going on all the time between our mastermind community. We have a course on live streaming going on right now. So there's a lot going on, and I'm just here to help you to build a better creative life from the inside out by applying timeless spiritual principles to the temporary creative problems that you are, might be facing, things you might be dealing with when it comes to faith, career, relationships, especially in this age of COVID. Just how do you deal with all these situations, all these things that are happening in your life? And I'm trying to provide some guidance, some encouragement, like a weekly pep talk, if you will, to help you out with that. So every week on Mondays, I come on in here and I always kind of check around to see who's watching, and I try to check the different feeds. We're here on Instagram, we're here on Facebook. We're also now streaming from YouTube, which is really exciting because now people who want to watch us on YouTube, they don't have to necessarily go to a Facebook account. They can watch this on a replay later on. So there's all these different ways that I'm just trying to make sure that this information is available to you. So even though I know when I go live that it takes a while for people to sometimes jump in, some of you are just getting off of lunch, some of you are in lunch on a job, some of you guys are watching this on the replay, so you're not even thinking about, well, why is he talking about other people? So I try to jump into the content as soon as possible, and then I'll review things and go back so that you can hear something that maybe you missed if you're joining live for the first time and didn't catch the intro. Okay, so today what I'm talking about and what I'm trying to help everybody out with is something that I've dealt with, and I'm sure many of you dealt with, especially now that many of us are stuck inside, not doing live performances and doing everything via the internet. If you're like me, your glasses are like your savior because I'm staring at screens all the time, whether it's my phone here, whether it's here on the laptop, it's like 2 or 3 monitors. Everything is digital, everything is internet. Live in-person contact is frowned upon, to put it lightly. I would be wearing a mask if it wasn't for the internet. I'd be next to you and I'd have to wear a mask, or I'd have to make sure I'm 6 feet apart from you. So much of this has now moved our creative careers to where our digital presence and the way that we operate online is a huge issue. It's probably now the number one thing everybody has had to figure out. How do I handle this digital world where I have to go online for pretty much everything, to show off my gifts, to perform, to connect with people through Zoom calls? Everything's internet, and those of us who are creators who like the connection between people and not having to have a screen in front of us, it can be extremely intimidating because now the tech stuff and the video stuff is paramount. Those of you who are engineers, you guys have probably got a ton of questions from all kinds of people like me who wanted to know, how do I figure out all this technical stuff and keep myself relevant in the midst of this new, I won't say post-COVID, this present COVID coronavirus age, where digital content and the way that we provide our services is entirely through this screen. It's entirely through how we present ourselves here. Good to see you over here, Charles. Good to see you on Instagram, man. Thanks for joining us, brother. So what we're talking about is just how do we clean up and get our digital house in order, so that if we are going to have to use this platform, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and then most importantly our websites, which I'll get to in a second, if that's going to be the way we're doing it, and if you're like me, you're not super techie, you have to figure out everything by hand, and you really want to present the best image both for your faith, the way that you want to present, the way that you present yourself, the way that God is giving you this gift, so you want to put it in the best available package. And then, of course, you also want to be profitable and effective in communicating your message. So you see all these things have, these details that have a lot to do with how we present ourselves online. And again, I'm not an expert in web design any more than I'm an expert in any of these other topics. I talk about it because I figure it out and I work with it. And then as I figure it out, I try to share with you what I'm figuring out, and that hopefully will help you to do the things you need to do to have the greatest impact you can on your followers, your audiences, your congregations, whoever's following you or watching you. I'm trying to help make sure that you get the most benefit out of your gift. So let's quickly jump to a slide here. Give me 1 second as I lean over and turn some things down and move some things around just to make sure I can see everybody. And also I want to see if I can get my Facebook going so I can see if there's any comments and questions. And that always is an issue because sometimes I have to go to like 3 different screens, and I know some of you are watching me on different platforms, so I can't respond to you. And I apologize for that. It's one of these things I'm learning how to figure out, how to be 3 places at one time. And so this will be part of the little pause in the in the broadcast as I jump in on Facebook and I jump in maybe on YouTube. I don't know how many people will be able to join us on YouTube since it's our first time jumping in on YouTube, but hopefully we'll have a few people who check us out there. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, here we are on Facebook. I've got a couple of people here. And so once again, if you have any questions, anything that goes along, the same thing with Instagram, anybody jumps in later on and on the replay as well, if that happens, just let me know, okay? And we'll definitely try to answer anything that I can answer for you guys. Got a few drop screens here too, so hopefully you guys are seeing me okay. Hopefully I'm not bouncing around in the camera. Let's close a couple more things, make sure that we're not making the computer work too hard. So first things first, why you need a website. This is what I'm having on Instagram. You can't see this, but on Facebook and YouTube, you guys can see it. So here's the thing. I wonder a lot of times whether or not websites are even that popular anymore because we're so connected to social media. I know a lot of the young people, we don't really see a website as, they don't see a website as the first go-to. They're going to go to your Facebook profile. They're going to go to your Instagram profile. They're going to go to your YouTube profile before they ever check out your website because it's just more natural for many people who have been living with the internet all their lives. They're not going to be going to .com right away. They're going to be looking simply to follow you on your social media platform. So you might think to yourself, well then if that's the case, why do I even need to worry about my digital presence as far as a website is concerned? Well, here's my answer, and I'm going to use an analogy that I've heard from many other entrepreneurs and people in the internet space, and that's of real estate. See, the thing is that right now I'm talking to you on 3 different platforms, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, but none of those belong to me. I'm renting the space. And the way I'm renting the space is that I'm basically paying with my attention and with my eyeballs when they show me ads. Ads are the rent we're paying to be on these platforms. Twitter, Instagram, any social media, TikTok, whatever you want to call it. We don't own that content. As a matter of fact, what I just did recently is I downloaded all of my content from YouTube into my hard drive, and I downloaded all of my Facebook data from Facebook. Why? Because if at any point I decide to either leave Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, I haven't done this on Twitter, I'm not on Twitter as much. But if I ever decide to leave these platforms, I want my content. I want my videos. I want my posts. I want everything I've written. I want it. It belongs to me. But while I am on Facebook, they get to control it. And so one of the biggest reasons why you still need a website is because a website is one of the few places digitally that you own. You own that space. If you don't have a space that you own, if Facebook changes algorithms, if Twitter decides to charge you for something or this or that or the other, if Instagram, like they did just recently, changes their entire operation, changes their user interface, they change the buttons and things get really weird and you can't understand it. You're stuck. If you don't have another way to reach your audiences other than social media, you don't own that platform. And anytime they change something, you are stuck with whatever changes they made. So what I always recommend to everyone is that you own your website, you own your name, you own your digital house first versus renting a house on social media. And again, you can even think of a spiritual parallel to this, okay? Because, you know, the Bible says we are the lender and not the borrower, right? Well, when you are on a Facebook or a Twitter or a YouTube profile, you are basically the borrower. You're borrowing the space. You're borrowing their area. And of course, I'm using that right now, as you can see. But the goal is eventually that I don't have to come here to see you guys. Hopefully, eventually you guys will come to my site and you'd be able to see it all there. And that's what I'm working on as well. So what I would love for more people to do is to see the value of having your own website, okay? And if you already have one, that's great. And that's why I want to go into now the whole point of what is your website doing? How is your website working? If your website is working well, that's awesome. But if you're like me, especially when COVID hit, you look back at your website and you were like, oh my goodness, I am not ready for this. I do not have the website that I need to have in order to attract or connect with my fans or with my audiences and make sure that I'm connected with everybody. Social media, yeah, great. I've built a platform, but I don't have my website together. And that was a rude awakening for me. So I'm assuming, and maybe you guys can hit in the comments, if your website is up to par, just tell me in one word, how is your website? Is your website looking good? Is it working for you? Is it shiny? Is it new? Is it hardly working? Is it, what's the state of your home on the internet? Let me go over here real quick and see if we can. I don't lean over to get to the comments here. Let's see if I can click on that. And yeah, anybody that's watching on replay as well, do the same thing. Tell me what your website is actually doing. Okay, so Tyrone is over here on Facebook. Let's see here. Whoops, let's make sure to. I don't want you to hear me twice. That's weird, right? So let's see here. Tyrone, if you're watching, and who else? Let's see. We got Charles over here on Instagram. And if I can't see Facebook yet, that's too many screens. I can't handle all of them at the same time. Point is, if your website has not been working for you, if you've got issues right now, that's the time, and this is the time. That's how you know it's time to clean house. Okay, we got to clean up. The song says, "Clean up what we messed up." Right? You have to get your website in order because here's the reason why you still need a website and why that website still needs to work. As I said, your space on the internet is limited and rented if you are simply using social media to reach your audiences. Now let's go to the flip side. If you own your website and your website is working for you, you will never be stuck. Let's say another COVID situation happens, God forbid. But you will never be stuck again worrying about how am I going to make money or how am I going to reach my people. All you have to do is just put up your new thing on your website and know at least there's one place where your content is safe, where people are used to coming to, where they can check on, see what you're doing, where your business is already thriving, your digital business is already ready. So you don't have to worry about that particular part of your business if your website has been working. Okay, if your website is not working, then you need to do some cleanup and let's get this thing working so that we're all in ownership mode. Good to see you, Chris. What's going on, man? It was great seeing you in the webinar the other day, man. Over there with Adam Blackstone. I got to talk about that a little later. Being in a webinar with Adam Blackstone was amazing. Sponsored by Bridge Hooks and stuff. And the outlet for vocal expression, which was this is Jasmine Crumley and Rachel James. Had an amazing thing. I was able to catch just one of those things. And Chris Snowden was in there with me. So here's the first thing we're going to do to help clean up our websites. Clean up where people are finding us. And that is make it easy to find. So how many of you guys, I don't know, you might have a website that has Wix on it, or maybe it says wordpress.com/, or maybe, I don't know, if it has Squarespace on it, or any of these other things. Many of us have gotten sites before that were built in these little template sites. And usually what happens is when you see that website, name of it, it will be something long or has the name of the brand in it or has something else in it that, you have to kind of like figure out, okay, it's this dot this dot me or .com or dot whatever. Here's the problem with that. If your website in this day and age, 2020, is too long for people to find and they can't just put in your name and just say, oh, I want to find this person. I want to send her an email. I want to see what she's doing. I want to see what he's doing. Simony, good to see you here on Facebook with my dear sister doing amazing things. We're talking about websites and cleaning house and making sure everything's working, which you have done as part of our coaching program. So first things first, the name of your website. And if you have not bought or owned your name, as a creative on the web, you're in a little bit of trouble because once again, what I'm like, I'm not trying to like scare you, but the more people who are in online, the more likely someone's going to end up using your name or using something like your name, or somebody already has your name, and then you cannot advertise that particular website because what it's called is a domain name, and your domain name needs to be your name. Your domain is the name of your website where your website is hosted. And if thank God I still have or was able to get Alan C. Paul. But there's thousands of other Allens in the world. There's probably a lot of Alan Pauls. And if I had not grabbed Alan C. Paul, there's a likelihood someone else would have had it and I couldn't get my own name to put on my website. And that's the easiest way for people to find me. Now all they have to do is go Alan C. Paul. And I know good and well that my website still needs some tweaking, and that's why I'm talking about this. But they can find me. And the same thing with God and Gigs. I was able to buy that name. And here's the little secret about buying names, guys. I recommend either going to GoDaddy.com or Bluehost.com. Oh, Tyrone, perfect time to ask that question. How do you buy your name? Okay, two ways, okay? Well, there's lots of ways, but this is one of I'll recommend a couple. First thing is go to GoDaddy.com and simply type in, there's a search place where it says, GoDaddy is a very popular registrar. A registrar is the name of a company that sells basically the real estate, the names. It keeps track of all the names over the internet. So there's plenty of them, but GoDaddy is one of the most popular, okay? So you can go to GoDaddy and just do a search and just say, hey, do I have my name there? Is it taken? Is it .net, Tyrone.com, .me, .biz? There's all those millions of them. And of course, you guys can probably guess .com is the most popular and the most expensive. So hopefully you don't have a really, really popular name. That's going to cost you a lot. But I've got my domains usually about $7-8 a year. $7-8, maybe one was like 15. So yeah, domains are not expensive most of the time. Okay. Somebody said you were able to get your name. You went through Squarespace and bought it. Yes, exactly. Squarespace is another one of those sites that already builds it for you, and they let you buy your name once you build it on Squarespace. Perfect example, somebody. Thank you for that. So the reason I'm explaining this way is because what I'm trying to kind of move everybody to is whatever you use to build your website, make sure you use something that you have as much control as possible. That's kind of where I'm going. I'm not a techie. I do not know the ins and outs of coding. I don't know all that stuff. All I know is that if you have a site, you want to be able to use it effectively so that you can do what you want to do with it and not be stuck working with a whole bunch of code and all that kind of thing. So thank you so much for that, Chris. Yeah, man, I'm trying my best, dude. And thanks for everybody joining us on Instagram. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, right? That's crazy. How am I doing this? It's technology. Thank Jesus. Ask me how I'm doing this because like I said, I'm not techie, but I'm figuring it out. So that's the key. Buy your name, go search for your name, and then the most important thing is after you make it easy to find by putting your name on your own website, and there's some easy ways to do that. Again, I know I'm not going to go through all the coding and how to like put your name on your domain. If you go through Bluehost, which is the host that I use, and that's what I'm going to explain a little bit about, just a tiny bit technical stuff. Your website lives somewhere. So think about your house, right? Your house lives, or your house exists in a city or a block. Right now, I'm talking on Facebook. As I said, this is rented. I'm renting this space. I don't own any of it. Facebook owns the entire city. Once I have my website, I'm going to build it on some land, right? I'm going to build my house on some land. So somebody has to still be in charge of that land. Now, maybe I own the land, but I still need to like get it, broker it or whatever. Like, okay, who's going to give me the land? A hosting service is what owns the land that your website is on. And so, Simony, you've got Squarespace. So Squarespace is both your domain host, so it has your name, it has where you registered your name, and it's where your website lives. So Squarespace is like your housekeeper where everything is like set. So where people can find your site, that's where all the data lives. I use Bluehost.com, and I've built Bluehost for GodandGigs.com and for AlanCPaul.com. And I'm getting ready. This is the big kicker, guys. My music website is non-existent. My music website is just was what the reason why I did this, because I was like, my music website has not been updated. The pictures are awful. It's like 3 years old. I've got things out there from 2018. I have not been keeping up with my music website. And here I am talking about music websites, and mine is a trash pile. So what I'm doing, y'all, is that I'm putting myself on the line with the rest of you. If you need help with your website, we're going to clean house together and create our websites in 5 days. I'm challenging myself and I'm challenging you. I'll talk about that in a second. Okay? So if your website's awesome, you may not need this, but I think all of us could clean house a little bit digitally, okay? So that's number one. Make it easy to find. Get your domain name. Put it somewhere where people can find it. And also make it easy to find in terms of where you put it. Put it on your Instagram profile. Put it on your Facebook profile. Is it there? Can people simply click one time and find your website? Or is it like buried under a whole bunch of stuff? Have you even noticed where you've put it? So this is the decluttering I'm talking about. Making sure your website is where it needs to be and it's cleaned up and that it's got a name that you can use. Now, what about what your customers are actually looking for? Like I said earlier, maybe your customers don't use Facebook or Twitter that much. Maybe they don't even use websites that much. And maybe you're like, well, again, maybe I don't need a website because they're not really looking for me on the website. However, there are customers and people in our world, are people that we're supposed to reach, congregations, audiences that need a website, and they want to find everything that they need to find in one place. They're not trying to follow you over here on Spotify, follow you over here on YouTube. They're not trying to go over here to see this. They're not trying to go over here and follow me here and follow me there. They want to have a one-stop shop, and they don't want to have to chase you down digitally. So what I'm suggesting is that we walk in their shoes. Walk in the shoes of your customer, your audience, your listener. What are they dealing with as they're trying to deal with COVID and job, and then they also want to support you? What are they feeling? What do they need to find on your website, and how easily does it need to be there so that they can find it? Great to see. Thank you for joining us over here, Sharia, BJ. I see over here. Keisha, come. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I see you over here on YouTube. I mean, on Instagram. See, I'm all flustered trying to remember all these different places. So, what if you think of your customer being, let's say they are, I'm a musician, so let's just make it music. They're interested in going to one of my live streams. How are they going to find what they need for my live stream? Are they going to go to my website? And then when they get to my website, are they going to see a ticket link? Are they going to figure out it? Or is it going to be, follow me on YouTube. And then when you follow me on YouTube, you'll see this video. And then when you see the video, right at the end of the video, subscribe. And then after they subscribe, then I'll send you this. And it's like, wait, all I wanted to do was watch your show. How do I do that? Do I have to follow you? Do I have to be your friend on Facebook? Do I have to be your Twitter friend? Do I have to be your Instagram? Do you guys see how it kind of combines? And someone that's your customer may be like, okay, I want to support you, but I have to think about 5 different places to find you. However, if you are in one place and you just say, go to Sharia, I just saw you pop up, so I'm going to use your name. It's ShariaGreen.com. That's it. Instagram's there. Facebook's there. YouTube's there. Buy this is there. Buy that is there. One place. If you walk in your customer's shoes, you'll see that this is really a way of serving them better. And that's why I want to make sure that all this stuff I've been talking about, I've been very nervous at times. I want to sound like a salesman. I want to sound like I'm just selling you guys on commercialism. No, this is about serving, not selling. Okay? We are artists and creatives and freelancers that are destined and created to serve the people that God has put in our lives. And if we are not walking in their shoes, the Bible says that, like, I'm going to get a little preachy. It says if you want to really know what love is, you're supposed to walk the second mile, right? If somebody says to walk 1 mile, you're supposed to walk 2, the extra. So we got to be more concerned about the way our customers feel than we feel. And we got to think, okay, my website might take a little bit of time to build, but if I really want people to see and find me and know what I'm offering and be able for me to serve them, then I got to make this available and make it really easy and make it simple and not kind of demand that they figure out, like, where am I here? What am I going to be doing? And, just getting all that straight. So if this is helping you, thank you so much for that comment, Sharia, and anybody else on Facebook and also on YouTube. Although I can't see those comments right now, I'm going to get used to figuring out the platforms. Maybe I can figure out a way to streamline also. I can see all your comments. But I really, really, really feel this is important, that we need to walk in our customers' shoes, and that means do the website the way they would need it to be done. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm slowly working out. Actually, you know what? Do I have it here? Yes. Now this is going to be weird because I shouldn't even be showing this. But this is, I don't know. Can you see the camera? I don't know this. This is my sketch for my website. Now it looks really complicated right now, right? But the most important thing that I tried to work out here as I'm starting to sketch out what my site's going to be is that there's one place in the middle, and all the people that want to do this go this way, and all the people that want to do this go this way. And I'm just thinking of all these different places where, hey, if someone needs to find my social, just go boom right there. If someone needs to contact me, they just go there, boom, done. If they want to get tickets to my new event, boom, right there, and they go there. So before I even if I was to have somebody build my website, I'd want them to see this. I want them to see the customer's journey and how I want to serve them and make sure that this makes sense. That's awesome. Tweaking your site, that's awesome. This is like what I'm talking about. You'll be so excited. God bless you. This is exactly what we're talking about. So yeah, just think it out. I'm going to be doing this next week again. I'm challenging some people who are in my masterminds. I'm going to be challenging them. I'm a little bit nervous about doing this in front of you guys because, like I said, it's not easy to make a site that works perfectly, and mine's probably going to have a lot of mistakes. But I know it's worth it because if I walk in my customer's shoes and I really try to make things work for them, I know that I'll be blessed in the long run. They'll be blessed in the long run, and so it'll all work out in the end. So let's talk real stuff. Tools and support. Those of you who are like freaking out because you're like, oh my God, I don't know the first thing about websites. I don't even want to think about building one. I just want to go to this site, hit a button, and it's all done for me. Or call this guy or this lady, and she builds the whole thing, and it's done. That's awesome if you can do that. If you can afford to get a web designer and you just hand them off the keys and they build it, you can go to Fiverr.com, which is, you can go to godandgigs.com/Fiverr. I should have wrote that down. Actually, I can put that in Facebook. So this is all in the toolkit, by the way. Any of these links are on the tool. But if you go to godandgigs.com/Fiverr, you can find freelancers that specialize in website design. Now, the thing is, like I said, even if you do that, you still need to know what you want out of the site. You still need to design the customer's journey. And then you need to think of, okay, well, where is this going to exist? Where's my site going to exist? I still need to figure that out. I still need to figure out, where do I go when I want to do this, or if I want to tweak this, or I want to have control over it. So 2 things I recommend in terms of support, okay? One is if you're going to build your website and you want to rehash it, rebuild it, and put it up, and you never had one before, I do recommend Bluehost. I am affiliate of Bluehost. Bluehost is the hosting company, but here's the cool thing about Bluehost. They also help you build the site, and they have templates built in where you can go in and just find the themes, find the things you need in all the Bluehost sites. Well, not all of them. They do support Wix. They do support Squarespace. So, and Weebly, I think. So they do also work with some of those sites that build it kind of like in a template form. But they work mostly with WordPress, and that's what I use. And here's where, if you have the guts, the challenge is to build your site on WordPress is so much better in the long run because you have more control. As I said, my website was on a template that I really couldn't control. Meanwhile, I had God and Gigs, which I was able to reform 3 times, redesign, figure it out, put out things I want on it, and make it run. Same thing with AlanCPaul.com, which again is hosted through Bluehost. I was able to rebuild it, put it up, get everything done. My music site, which was not on Bluehost, was a pain in the neck, and I finally took it down. And like I said, I'm going to be rebuilding it from the ground up, and I'm challenging you guys to join me in cleaning house digitally and getting your house in order on your website. So the tool I recommend is definitely Bluehost. You can go to godandgigs.com/Bluehost. Okay, I got some questions here also I'm going to address in just a second. So you can go to godandgigs.com/Bluehost, and they have an offer there where you can get your domain built and start building your WordPress website. Now, you might say, okay, I'm a musician, I'm a creative, I don't want to deal with all that kind of stuff. Trust me, if you walk through the steps in Bluehost, they have very good customer service, and they will help you to work out what you need to do next. They have videos, tutorials, all that stuff. I got a little crossed up myself trying to use it the first time until I went back and actually read the tutorial. It was my fault. I tried to do it without the tutorial, and it was like silly. Why would I do that? I ended up messing everything up because I didn't follow the steps they told me to follow. Okay, so let me answer this question. Our site is with WordPress, but you say you need to go to Bluehost for hosting. Your site is probably already hosted somewhere, but you should know where. That's my point. So if you are a WordPress, that means if your site is already up and exists, that means it is being hosted. It has an address. So one thing I do is that you can go to whois.net, and you can type in your own web address. And if you don't even know like where the heck your address is or where your site lives, who hosts your site, you can go and see, and then Whois will basically give you the information as long as it's not private. If you've created a privacy thing, sometimes you have to break into your own site because you have to remember the passwords and everything. But yeah, your site is being hosted. If it exists on the web, it's being hosted somewhere. But what I'm saying is that I'm going to be using Bluehost to build my new site. And if you're interested in that and joining me, that's what the next kind of step is that, okay, let's clean it up. Let's make everything exactly where it needs to be so that people can find us. We can glorify God and glorify others and bless others by creating spaces and platforms that really work well. Okay, so that's my recommendation. Also, I put Fiverr down there. Canva, again, I always recommend Canva, godandgigs.com/Canva. All these sites, as you can tell, I try to make sure there's a link there with God and Gigs. So you see, try to make it easy. godandgigs.com/Canva. If you're not using Canva yet, it's amazing. You can create all the graphics you need, create pictures, make things sized the right way. All of that works really awesome, and you don't have to be a designer to use Canva. So I highly recommend godandgigs.com/Canva if you want to get a look at that tool to build your graphics. And then finally, I would probably say all this is at the toolkit, which I think I have. Yes. So all this is at the toolkit. And I always say again, yes, you are supporting God and Gigs when you go to the toolkit and use purchase things. But as you can see, this is about what you need. If you need something from the toolkit, you can find it there. And then you can start on this and you can join us in building a clean house. Remember that show, Niecy Nash? A clean house where you can have your digital content where it needs to be. And most importantly, guys, you own it. It's yours. You don't have to wait for Facebook. You don't have to wait for Instagram and pray they don't change the algorithm. They don't, they're not really interested as much in promoting you without you paying for it, to be straight up with you. You usually have to pay ads, boost posts. Your commercial content usually is going to be suppressed on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter because they're trying to make it more organic. So let's just be honest. If you really want to get yourself out there to your customers, you kind of need to go around the social media or at least do it effectively. And the only way you can do that is if you have a website. Jody, great to see you, man. I see some other people joining in. McKee's over here. Thanks for joining in, brother. Sorry, I mean to get in the camera there. I was trying to say hi to everybody. So, here's my newest thing, and this is really, really, really exciting. It's also scary. I am going to be starting a 5-day challenge, and I'm literally making it up as I go along, okay? I'm being honest with you, I have not yet figured this out. All I know is I need a new website, and I need it quick. And I'm counting on other people who want to join me to rebuild, reboost, rehash, relaunch websites and get their digital house cleaned up. Do a makeover on your digital life, okay? On your digital stuff out there so that since we're on the internet all the time as creators with COVID, since we're basically become like internet companies, little internet companies, all of us as musicians, let's make sure everything is cleaned up and in order. And that's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to be like fighting tooth and nail to get this done. by next Friday. And can I build a website in 5 days? Yes, I think I can. I think you can too. So I'm challenging all of you guys to join the godandgigs.com/web makeover. Okay. So you just go to that site, godandgigs.com/web makeover, sign up for the challenge. I will send you some emails in the next couple of days explaining how the challenge works. But the most important thing is, the key is you will have your new website built, cleaned up, ready to go. As one of our people said, she's working, tweaking it. So all those tweaks and things to make it like pop so that people are going to your website, they are being blessed, you're selling what you need to sell, you're serving what you need to serve, you are providing value and helping people in this day and time, which we sincerely need. We so need this kind of stuff, okay? So godandgigs.com/web makeover, all right? Check that out. I'll go put that link. Instagram, I can't do it, but I can do it in on Facebook here. And again, I'm just trying to keep all the scenes going at the same time. It's like really tough. So if there are any other questions, I would love to hear them, but I'm going to start signing off. Once again, guys, thank you so much. Let me just review real quick before we get out of here, and the people on Facebook and Twitter can see this. Remember, Facebook and YouTube. Remember, make it easy to find. Get your domain name if you don't have it already. Go to GoDaddy. You can also buy it. Again, you can usually buy your domain from whatever hosting platform you're going to use. I recommend Bluehost, but you can use Wix, Squarespace, all these other places, Weebly. Bluehost works with those places, so you can go to godandgigs.com/Bluehost to check those things out. Okay, but again, any of these hosting platforms work, or just buy it from a registrar. But get your name. Make sure that your name and your even your social medias. Let's quick aside. Your social medias. I try to make sure that my social media. I try to clean up all those so that I didn't have like 5 different names, because I had Alan C. Paul, Alan Paul Music, and I do still have a lot of different names, but I'm going to try to clean it up so it's one name as much as possible, at least for music, so that people aren't like confused, like, okay, what's the name of the show or what's the name of the thing? I'm trying to get that cleaned up as well. So try to make it consistent all the way through. Okay, so make it easy to find. Walk in their shoes. Okay, walk in their shoes. Walk in the shoes of your customers. What are they looking for? Why would they be looking for that? What do you think they need? And finally, make sure that you get the right tools and support. Yes, you can get outside help. You can get web designers. You can get graphic designers. I suggest you go to godandgigs.com/Fiverr if you want to get outside freelancers. There's thousands of people that can help you with that. But even if you have a local person, a web designer, a graphic designer, someone local, make sure you know what you want them to know and how you want your site to work, and then start getting those people involved. And then, of course, there's always Bluehost, godandgigs.com/Bluehost, and other sites that will help you build your site the way you want it. And let's get our digital houses in order. Okay, guys, it's right at 2:40, so I think I've gone far enough, and I think I've explained everything I need to explain. Make sure to go to godandgigs.com/web makeover if you are interested in the challenge. Okay, the challenge again is just me and you and a few other people, maybe 1,000 people, 100 people. I don't know how many people are going to sign up, but we're going to get our websites and clean up stuff in 5 days next week. Okay, next week, I'm doing a web makeover. I'm challenging myself. I'm challenging you. I think we can do this, but I need to just have some support, right? So I invite you to join our challenge, godandgigs.com/web makeover. And remember, all this is for serving others, making sure that we're in the right place, right time, so that God can bless us. God can bless our audiences, our music, our art, our creativity. It's all designed to make this world a better place, which we sorely need right now. And that's what I believe you're part of this community for. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Everybody that's watched, people that are joining in just now, make sure you catch the replay. I'm about to sign off. Facebook, thank you for joining me. Instagram, YouTube, those people are watching me on the replay. Thank you so much for joining this. Remember, I'll be back next Monday, 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Pacific. Try to bridge the gap between the coast and make sure everybody has a chance to see this around lunchtime or so. You are very welcome. Thank you so much for joining in. Oh my gosh, this has been really, really cool. I really enjoyed this. I was really worried about this show, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is wonderful. Everybody kind of understands where we're coming from. I thought I was going to be out here by myself trying to talk about websites in the middle of a pandemic, But clearly, as you guys can see, it's something that needs to be addressed, and we can address it together. Okay? God bless you guys. I'm going to sign off now. See you guys next week, Tuesday. And remember, guidinggigs.com/web makeover. If you're interested in joining the challenge, no cost to the challenge. Simply those who want to get some support in remaking their websites, remaking their digital home, so that we can be the best we can be and build better lives creatively from the inside out. Okay? It's Guiding Gigs. Make sure you check out the podcast. All the other good stuff is on guidinggigs.com. Okay? God bless. Take care.